This is Corolla Digital.
Hello, my little toner cartridges. It's me, Alison. Before the show officially starts, a few words. I believe it was about 1 month ago, exactly, maybe 28 days ago or so, that I disgusted Gary, but, talked to some of you guys, reached many of you, I'd say, with some news about how I'd had a really heavy flow after a meeting, and it was horrible, and so now here I am in this predicament once more, and today I was thinking, why is it not socially acceptable to just tell people you're having a heavy flow day, hence everything needs to be adjusted because everything's going to take longer, and you're not going to be in a good mood. And, I had a meeting earlier, and I needed to use the bathroom when I got there, and I also wanted to use it before I left and got in my car, because who knows what kind of mess could be created with traffic, but I didn't want to be that person who's like, hi, I just met you and I'm using the bathroom. I'm sandwiching this meeting with trips to the bathroom. So I think what needs to happen is either we all need to adjust to my periods and the fact that all of us have them, usually women, or even though there's already a lot of Starbucks, there needs to be more so that there can be a bathroom pretty much everywhere I go. Or I need to conduct all my business at Starbucks. And to anyone who's going to be like, oh, nice plug for Starbucks, just because I mention a product does not mean I'm receiving money from them. I wish it did. Anyway, this has gotten away from me. It's because there's a little frog in my throat and it's distracting me. Hang on. Having that kind of day. I believe we have an iTunes comment of the week.
Alison wants your iTunes comments. Alison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
All right, this week's iTunes comment of the week comes from Deanne Weimer, and it is titled, Bring on the Carbs. Alison is hilarious. It is inevitable that I will laugh out loud at least a handful of times with each and every podcast. She is so quick-witted and just too cute.
Oh, thank you.
On that note, I have one small request. That she bring back the cutesy random carbohydrate audience greeting at the beginning of each podcast. There are so many more clever carbs that could be used to nickname the listeners each week than office supplies. Plus, that was just her thing, It's fun to be called a blueberry muffin, a cake pop, or a crumpet. Much more fun than a mechanical pencil.
Oh, you're right.
Can we go back to the carb diet, please? Either way, I will not stop listening to ARIYNBF. The nickname welcome thing is not terribly important. I enjoy Alison more than anything and will continue to tune in each and every week no matter what. Thank you, Alison, for always keeping a smile on my face.
Well, I love you. Thank you. I think you're right. For people who are like, what are you talking about, who are still listening, I used to address people as carbohydrates, and then I thought with the new year, why not change it up? But maybe I fixed something that wasn't broken, because first I was calling people meat names, quickly ran out of meat, and now I'm on to office supplies. But it's not as much fun thinking about office supplies. So I don't know. Maybe I will take this under consideration and also under advisement. And I think it's time for fan phone call.
On a fan phone call, Alison wants to thank you all. On a fan phone call.
I believe we'll be talking to Donnie.
Hello?
Hello, Donnie. Hello? Donnie, it's Alison Rosen from Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend.
Hello?
I have a frog in my throat and I have my period. It's kind of a heavy flow day. I don't think you can hear anything I'm saying. This is a wonderful fan phone call. I'm glad we were able to connect. I was going to ask you some things about your life, but I guess I won't be able to. I think you just hung up. Oh, boy. Oh, well.
Oh?
Hello, Donnie? Thank you so much for listening to my show. Is there anyone special in your life? What's your favorite condiment?
Oh.
What do you do in your daily life? What are you working on? What are your goals and dreams? This is frustrating.
Maybe it could be.
Oh, wait. Hello?
Probably Alison Rosen, but maybe it's not.
No, it is. Can you hear me?
I guess I'll hang up now.
Okay, bye.
Or
Have a good day.
I don't.
Okay, bye. Oh, my God. I'm really glad we had a chance to talk to him. I say, Gary, should we just move on, given the time? Or should we try someone else? As far as you know, the phones are working. Yes, that was on Donnie's end, right?
Yes.
All right, I think we're going to be calling Renee.
Hello.
Hi, is this Renee?
Oh my God, Allison.
Hello. Yes. You knew it without me even having to say. Hello.
Thank you for calling me.
Thank you for answering. How's it going?
What's going on?
Hello?
What's going on?
Well, we're just doing some fan phone call. What's going on with you?
I'm actually still working.
You are? Where do you work, or what do you do?
I actually work from home. I do medical record coding.
That sounds super exciting.
No, not really.
What does that mean? Is that like, what does coding medical records mean?
Well, when you go to the doctor and you get the paper back, the little bill at the doctor's office, and it has a number at the bottom with your diagnosis.
Oh.
I kind of do that on a major scale for a hospital.
Oh. Yeah. Now, does this have to do with insurance companies?
Well, no, I don't really work. Well, they use the coding, I guess you could say.
Right.
To do their statistics and if they're going to pay or not pay. But I actually work for the hospital trying to get paid for Medicare. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. It's really just reading medical records. It's like reading a medical short story every 5 minutes.
But not good short stories, right? Like, we're not talking O. Henry.
No, nothing like that. But sometimes it's like a little medical mystery, trying to figure out what is wrong with this patient.
Ooh, you're like House.
Kind of.
Or like Murder, She Wrote in bad case scenarios, worst case scenarios. Well, that's cool that you can work from home, though.
Yeah, it's a great commute from my bedroom to my office.
And where do you live? Where are we reaching you?
I actually live in northeastern Oklahoma.
Huh.
Lake Hudson. I actually live on a lake.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, great view.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think where I've been to Oklahoma, but I can't remember where I went. So I'm glad that I brought it up because this is a good conversational tangent to go on.
Oh my gosh. I am so happy to talk to you. I listen to you every day.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
And my favorite interview was Bert Kreischer.
He's very funny. I'm gonna do his podcast tomorrow, I think.
Oh my gosh, he is hilarious. Who knew? I
know. I had heard, but I hadn't experienced myself until he was in front of me. I like when he laughs so hard that he kind of starts crying.
I listened to that multiple times, and that is my favorite interview, and it makes me laugh out loud. So,
oh, well, thanks.
Thank you for that. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great.
I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for picking up.
Hey, I've been listening to a radio station today about the guy that is out there loose in Big Bear.
Yes, it's kind of scary. There was on my way into the studio, there's a big billboard saying that, like, be warned, this guy's dangerous and he's on the loose. For people who don't know, there's a former cop who's a spree killer, and he has a vendetta, and he's kind of nuts, and he's like a trained sniper, essentially.
That is so exciting. Nothing like that ever happened here.
I wish I felt excited by it as opposed to just... Actually, I don't feel worried, but then I think maybe I should feel worried since it seems like we're supposed to be concerned right now, although I do think he's in Big Bear. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's very exciting to listen to what's going on out there.
Yeah, well, it's really glamorous out here. We have all the big killers. Well,
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well, Renee, thank you so much for picking up and for being delightful and for being nice and for teaching us about medical coding.
Sure. It's a great opportunity. Medical stuff is on the rise around here or everywhere. It's a big thing, and it's something you can do from home.
I hope that everyone keeps that in mind in case their life takes them in the direction where that's something that they want to do.
Allison, you're terrific. Gary, you too. And thank you so much for calling me. You made my day.
Oh, good. Well, you made our day.
I better get back to work.
Okay. Bye, Renee.
Bye, Renee. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
You know how long I would last as a medical coder? Half an hour.
That sounds optimistic.
No, I feel like I could get into, like, I feel like it'd be like a peak and then a valley very quickly, because I'd be like, I'm learning, this is hard, this is difficult, requires a new skill. And then I'd be like, I don't want to attain that skill. I can't do it. I don't understand why it matters whether I write K or A, even though, of course, I understand. But it's far too detail-oriented for me. And I bet, since she's a podcast listener, I bet she's someone who listens to podcasts while she works, although I could be wrong, which means that she's so good at that kind of stuff that she can be distracted while she does it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, it's a different kind of brain. It's a different kind of brain than I possess. All right, I need to talk to you guys about our friends over at ProFlowers. Don't be the guy that forgets about Valentine's Day. Just don't. It's not worth it, especially when you have fair warning in advance. It's coming up. And you know what is a wonderful gift? Flowers, especially flowers from ProFlowers. Order them now so they arrive on Valentine's Day. 1 dozen red roses plus a glass vase, gourmet chocolates, and a plush teddy bear, all for $39.99. I want this. Dozen red roses and a glass vase, gourmet chocolates, and a plush teddy bear, all for $39.99. What more could you want? You just need my code, BESTFRIEND, when you order to get this special price. It's classic, it's romantic, it's cute because it's got the bear, it's delicious because it's got the chocolates, and it's not too late to order online for delivery on Thursday the 14th. ProFlowers are guaranteed to last a full week or your money back. And I've said before, I have ProFlowers sitting at home on my table right now, and they are big and they're beautiful, and they've been... I don't know what they inject them with, some kind of magical flower potion. Not really, but it's amazing how long they last and how long they stay vibrant. And you'll look like a hero for planning and ordering ahead of time. Here's the only way to get this amazing Valentine's Day deal. Call 800-PRO-FLOWERS, that's P-R-O Flowers, and mention Best Friend. Or go to proflowers.com, click on the microphone in the top right corner, and type in Best Friend. That's proflowers.com, click on the microphone and type in Best Friend. Order now. Order now, you guys. This deal expires on February 13th or when they run out, whichever comes first. So get on that. Also, another wonderful Valentine's Day gift is Sherry's Berries. These are so good. They're big, juicy, delicious strawberries, as big as your fist if you have a gigantic fist. They might be a little bit smaller than that, but what I'm saying is they're flowers that will make you say wow, and they're dipped in chocolate, so they're just... I feel like words are failing me. They're so good. That's how good they are. I don't have the words for them, but I'll try. There's dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, decorative swizzle, nuts, chocolate chips, and they're all delicious and they're all perfect, and they would make a great gift that would impress her and her friends. There's no more time, though. You need to order now. Giant freshly dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries starting at $19.99. That's over 40% savings. Go to berries.com, click on the microphone, and type in Best Friend. For my listeners, you can double the berries for just $10 more. They are so good, you guys. If you have not had Sherry's Berries, order them for yourself. And then also order them for someone else. But you really want to order them for... You know what you do? Order a lot for someone else and then just like eat half of them. That's what I would do. Here's the only way to get this amazing Valentine's Day deal. Call 866-FRUIT-02, or even better, visit berries.com. That's BERRIES.com. Click on the microphone in the top right corner and type in Best Friend. Go to berries.com, click on the microphone and type in Best Friend. Don't forget about Valentine's Day, you guys. This offer ends soon, so order today. All right. One more thing, you guys. Valentine's Day is coming up, as we've been talking about, and you don't want to mess it up. Here's how to get your lady to think you're a hero and to spice things up in the bedroom. I said before, you don't want an unspicy bedroom. Go to bettersex.com and learn how to dramatically improve your sex life and make sex fun. Bettersex.com has thousands of items to add intense pleasure to your love life, including adult toys, vibrators, sexual solutions, as well as sex ed and adult DVDs, all backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can even check out bettersex.com to learn techniques that will rock her world. Bettersex.com has everything you need for fun sex, and if you enter FRIEND at checkout, you'll receive 50% off any one item, get 3 free erotic videos, and free shipping. There's also expert advice brought to you by the Sinclair Institute, America's trusted leader in sexual health. So imagine it's Valentine's Day, you go out for a romantic dinner, then you come home, and then surprise, there's, something that she wasn't expecting you to have gotten, like a video or a toy or something, and it will make her. She'll be happy because you are putting attention into that part of your relationship, which, if you do it right, women always appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I trust you know what I'm saying. With a slogan like more sex, better sex, more often, which is also my slogan, kind of says it all. That's the Sinclair Institute's slogan. Maybe they had it before I did. So go to bettersex.com today, enter friend at checkout, and you'll save 50% off any one item. Get 3 free videos and free shipping. That's bettersex.com, and enter the word friend at checkout. It's a great deal. You'll turn your love life into a fun and deliciously wicked ride you've always wanted, because great lovers are made, not born. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It'd be weird if they were born. It's too young to be a great lover. Grow into it. Make yourself one. Okay. Alrighty. Here is part 1 of my interview with Dr. Drew. I'm sure you guys know how I feel about Dr. Drew. I love him, so it's very exciting for me to sit down with him and get to find out the whole backstory, the whole Dr. Drew backstory, which is not out there that much. I mean, I couldn't find it, and believe me, I've tried to find it. Anyway, here we go. Download part 2 on Thursday. I love you.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her the good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen, Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it is me, Alison Rosen. Welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. I'm very excited because my guest today is someone that I have been wanting to have on this show for so long, someone who's quickly becoming my favorite human being, someone who you guys know that I love. Dr. Drew!
Thank you for being my new best friend.
Thank you for being my new best friend and for dropping by this little podcast. So you are actually named David Drew Pinsky, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct,
So there's
ma'am.
no Andrew.
No, Andrew, no. I always, as a kid, was offended by that. I get like, ugh.
Yeah.
People would go, they do the Drew math and go right to Andy.
Ugh.
And call me Andy.
That's not even at all your name, and it's not a good name. No offense, Andys.
No,
Yeah.
it's weird.
I know. And then, this one more question from your Wikipedia page. I noticed that you gave one of your triplets your name, your middle name.
Yeah.
But did you worry that, like, they would, you've knighted one of them?
No, if you notice, the other boy was David's son.
Oh,
Isn't
right.
that clever?
Yes, that's good.
We listen. We
spread
had
it out.
we had 9 names to come up with, so we spent a lot of time. We have triplets, if people don't know, and so we gave each 2 names, a middle name, and we came up with a lot of interesting names. I remember where we were sitting having those conversations hour after hour with the baby, beyond Jennifer and Jason books and
Right.
stuff. 20,000 names for babies.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
We thought we were so clever. Jordan was the one we thought we were really clever with. Like it's a strength in a river in Egypt or in North Africa. No, Jordan was probably, we met now not just Jordans, but boys and girls named Jordan all over the place, wherever we went.
That's I bring this up on the Adam Carolla show often, especially whenever we do baby name stories. I think that somehow people think, oh, here's this name. I haven't heard it in a long time. I love it, and it's unusual, and then it turns out to be the Jennifer of that year.
But think how
and no
weird
matter,
that is.
It's so weird
Isn't
that
that
we're
weird?
yes.
That literally, no, we're not consulting with people who are saying, hey, Big Jordan, I've heard that.
Right.
No, you're by yourself going, here's a name no one's naming.
It's a global consciousness.
Weird. Yeah, isn't that
It's
weird?
pretty much if you like it, then everyone does.
Yeah, it's your generation, your time of history, whatever it is.
Right.
Gertrude would sound great.
I'm sure that will come
He
back.
has to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sookie is popular right now, evidently. And I don't know if it's short for like Sookford or
hysterical.
something. One more name thing. When you said that people would always think your name was Andrew and they go to Andy, I have found that most people don't like the names that are very similar to yours, but a few letters off, you hate.
Because people go to that. And
Yes.
they go. First of all, it's your first day in art class. You want to be you. You want the other kids to know you, and the teacher comes up with some name that's
Right.
not only not
Alice.
yours, but right. No, I'm not Alice. That's gross. I hate all Alices. I hate them.
Exactly. So, Drew, I don't know that much about your upbringing, how you
do
got
it.
to where you are.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, where were you born?
Bring it. Los Angeles at the Queen of Angels Hospital. That that building up on the hill as you go on the 110, just after you come off the you go off the 101 off the 110. It used to be the Queen of Angels Hospital.
Okay. And do you have siblings?
I have a sister, 6 years younger.
Okay. And what was your childhood like?
Where do you want to start?
Wherever.
The one thing that Adam will tell you about that he gives me shit about all the time that was a major trauma is my dad was a product of the Depression. My dad was a family practitioner, worked a lot. He was a product of the Depression, and he transmitted all that trauma, just rained it down on me, financial trauma. If I needed a pair of shoes or a coat or something, if God forbid, when I was older, if I went out and bought one of my own, forget that. But even as a kid,
because
it's
he felt you were being frivolous with money.
Well, every day, tomorrow is the end of the world, and look, we're going to buy these shoes for you. I know there's holes in those shoes, and you feel the water coming in there, but I walked 3 miles through the snow in Chicago, and in the Depression, we had nothing. We didn't know where we were going to eat the next day, and I'm going to buy you these shoes. But tomorrow, you're going to have to come wave to me at the poorhouse. I'll be in the poorhouse, and it's okay. You're going to come. Your mom will drive you by, and you'll just wave to me. I'll come to the window, but I'll be in the poorhouse.
Right, what a martyr.
I mean, every day I heard these stories about the poorhouse, and in my 3-year-old brain, I concocted this place.
Yeah.
And imagine I was going to put my dad in the poorhouse.
Right.
It's awesome.
So a lot of responsibility from
Just
an early age.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the end. Tomorrow's the end.
Right.
And I've done a lot of thinking about. I used to have this. You really want to get into my psychology stuff? I used to have this recurring dream about a man with red crosses in his eyes. It wasn't even a recurring dream. Have you ever read my book Cracked?
No.
No, I write about this.
I need to.
And no, you don't.
Yeah, no, I do.
No, you don't. And
Totally do.
okay. and I had this. It wasn't even a recurring dream. It felt like one. Shattering dream I had where there was this. I was probably 2 years old in a car with my mother, huddling in this car, and this man, and we were stuck in traffic, we're piled up on cars, and this man, sort of a zombie. Strange enough, I got 0 for zombies these days. This zombie man was sort of walking. He'd go up on the cars and down the other side, and up and down. He'd just walk on the roofs, and he had, for his pupils, he had red crosses, and there was a big white, and he was trying to get us or something. And it was just, it's weird. I'm having a physical reaction as I describe it to you. And is this okay for your podcast?
Yes, this is what we do. We talk strictly about your dreams.
All right.
It's weird when other people don't have yours, but please.
And all through my childhood, I always, whenever my parents would go out or away, I'd go. We say hi to the man with the squares in his eyes.
You would say that.
I wouldn't know it cross out that there were squares. And they were like, the man with squares in his eyes. Yeah, go say it. And they started playing along. Okay, we're going to say hello to the guy with the squares in his eyes. I don't know if that was soothing me or something.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. It was I had a lot of post-traumatic stress symptoms growing up and anxiety and blah blah blah, mood stuff, and I could never. I always thought that dream was just some sort of excessive. I just thought it was a dream.
How old were you when you had it?
Probably 2, and I remember. I'm not putting together the history that well right now, but. Wow, am I getting anxious telling the story? It's weird. And I remember in college, I was looking for a place to live in Boston, and I had we were driving by somewhere, we're like in Cambridge, and I saw a 1950s-style ambulance. And they were sort of like vans back then, and they were all white with a red cross on the side. Right. Like you'd see in almost like an army movie. And I saw that van, and I had like a physical reaction. I almost went to the ground. And I thought, oh, my God, somehow that figures into that dream. Well, maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe it was some sort of memory. Oh. And then I went to therapy and stuff and started putting these pieces together. As near as I can tell, what that was when I was probably less than 1. My mother, who was a very dramatic person, she was an opera singer and whatnot, had a miscarriage and hemorrhaged in our house. We were living in Alhambra at the time, lovely Alhambra. And I started having memories of being out on the lawn and seeing the lights and my mother being carted away by the van. And And the guy I think they handed to me, the guy in the dream, looked like a good friend of theirs back then. A guy, I know his name.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they handed me off to him.
Did you check with them? Did you ever?
No, I never, because they wouldn't even remember, I don't think. And God knows what that guy did to me or mishandled or who the hell knows, while they rush off and drama off into this ambulance and the baby is left there with some dude.
Yeah.
I think something might have happened there because I had a lot of post-traumatic stress type symptoms all my life.
What kind of symptoms?
Anxiety, panic attacks, depression, that kind of stuff.
Do you still have panic attacks?
No.
How did you get on top of that?
Well, they started when I started having those when I was 19 in college, and they were, oh my God, they're really bad. And maybe we'll have one today for you though. Yeah,
No, calm down. Go to a happy place. Although I do, is it better if we don't talk about the panic attacks?
No.
Okay.
If I have one, I finally I had them. I thought I was going crazy. I knew enough to go to sort of the mental health services at college.
What were the circumstances of your first one? Do you remember?
I'm not really remembering. I can't remember. I remember here's the comedy. I was in college, my second year of college. I really got lost after my freshman year of college. I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm going to be an artist. I don't know what I'm going to do. Left college, came out here, goofed around, went back to college, was doing plays. It was John Proctor in the Crucible.
I love the Crucible.
Yeah. And I think I had a panic attack during a rehearsal or something. And went home and had trouble functioning and actually took myself to I think I took myself to an emergency room or something. I said, I know this. I think I'm having a seizure or I'm something.
Right,
wrong.
because when they happen, you think you're going to die.
But I kind of knew enough that it was mental healthy.
Yeah.
And then I went to mental health the thing and was sort of mishandled for a long while.
What did they think was going on?
No, they knew it was panic. Well, they never told me really, but I kind of put it together. And when I would have bad episodes, it sort of went from panic to generalized anxiety because they weren't treating the panic properly, and that can happen. You can go from panic to anxiety. And I remember I went down to the student health services. I went from strangely, the mental health and student health were separated by miles. Ridiculous. And there was an old-time doctor down there going, son, you need to get your act together. Take long walks in the woods. I'm going to give you this Valium tablet to take right now, but you need to get out there and take a long walk. I'm like,
right, great, a sergeant.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I would happily get over this shit if I could, but I can't. And anyway, that went along. I think what happened was I made enough changes in my life and my directions and made choices in what I wanted to do, and that things started, one sort of block after they kind of came together. And I remember when I decided, I want to go be a doctor, which was 4 months after the panic attack started, maybe it was even, probably that. And by then I was already sort of putting the pieces back together and
was
starting to feel better.
Was this after you had come out?
I was back at college.
You're back at college, okay.
And I remember looking at the prospect of what was ahead of me I just remember I had a vision of like a brick wall that went to infinity, like Jack and the Beanstalk. And I was like, I got to climb that wall. And I'm like, all right, well, today I just start with brick one. Just start going up that wall. And I remember that experience. Like, the way you deal with an insurmountable task is just start where you're at.
And what was the task at that point?
Getting into medical school, doing the pre-med curriculum. And I was at the end of my sophomore year in college. And I was like, I'm just going to do it, just one brick at a time. And as I moved up that wall, a lot of my mental health stuff settled. I was getting sort of feeling better as I went along.
What made you want to be a doctor? And before that, what
well, before my dad was, before I was always going to be a doctor and be like daddy, be a doctor. And then when I got to college, I did a year of pre-med and I did pretty well, but I killed myself to do it. And I'm like, nope, not up for this. Too much for me. And by the way, I was competing when I was at Amherst College, competing with really smart people.
Yeah.
I'd not met people that smart before. And these were the people just
Had you been like number
lunch.
one in your class in high school?
No, I went to a private high school where I wasn't number one, but I was top 20% for sure, maybe top 10, 15%.
Right.
And it, I had to work, but it was like, I can do this. Now it's like, oh, no, this is a whole other, you experience it from home, I'm sure. There's a sphere that most people aren't even exposed to.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the people that are going to go to medical school, not me. And of course, when you're a freshman, you feel that vividly. And by the time I was a junior, it's like, well, also the male brain kind of kicks in. Male brains don't turn on until they're about 19, 20. They're just on the light switch off. and to try to do really hard, rigorous studies, like, no way.
Because there's too much hormones coursing around?
Just whatever. Yeah, you're on different testosterone and stuff. And so by the time I hit my junior, I was like, yeah, I can kind of do this. I'm kind of up for this. It was hard, and I was sort of disturbed. Like, I don't know if I'm going to sacrifice my entire college experience for this and not get in somewhere. There's always anxiety provoking for that.
Right.
But things sort of felt better. I felt more purposeful and, good about things.
Mm-hmm. And then did you know what kind of doctor you wanted to be?
No, I didn't even know. Jesus. The stunning thing when I hear how people don't understand what different specialties and stuff do, I think I was a third-year medical student before I understood what different specialties did. You have to actually go out and see what they do.
Right.
Before at the end of second year, I announced I wanted to be a general surgeon. And then my first rotation was like OBGYN. Then I wanted to be a gynecologist. My next rotation was neurosurgery. And then I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And it wasn't my internal medicine rotation was the very last rotation of my third year. It's your general when you go out on the wards and do things, you go by specialty, and internal medicine was the very end. And when I got there, I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I wanted to be a doctor. This is what I wanted to do.
What was it about it?
Just general. I wanted to be able to do everything for anybody. And I didn't know how all the different generalities I got into, I never even had been exposed to or understood until much, much, much later.
Right. So your specialty is
internal medicine.
Okay. And now how is that different than a general practitioner?
There really isn't anything as a general practitioner. That would more to go on as a family practitioner.
Right.
Okay. And so a family practitioner is a 3 or 4 year residency after medical school. Same with internal medicine. But with family practice, you do pediatrics, obstetric and gynecology, and surgery. With internal medicine, you do not pick up a knife and you do not deal with kids. You're focused much more on the subspecialties of medicine like cardiology, nephrology, infectious disease, that kind of thing. While they're spending time doing appendicitis, you're working on HIV.
Right. In medical school, the first times that you were dealing with a cadaver or blood or did any of that upset you?
Cadaver was blood. No, cadaver was a little weird. I'll tell you where. It's really interesting because we had this huge room. I mean, like a stadium-sized room with probably 50 or 60 bodies in it, and groups of 4 medical students or 3 medical students at everybody, and you get your body, and that's your body for that year. Yeah. And when you get them, they cover the face and the hands with like a silk cloth, like a cheesecloth almost. Yeah. And at first you're like, no big deal. You do the back first. We went through the back and all this, and you go through every millimeter of the body. You go through it. And I remember you don't get to the face till much later. And when they uncovered the hands, you get, ooh.
Because now it's a person?
Somehow it became humanoid when you got to the hands. And that prepared you for when they unveiled the face. Because mind you, we don't look at the face until 9 months in or something.
Right.
And then he had a face. And it's like, and then you start tearing the face apart.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a moment.
Mm-hmm. So how did you start dealing with addiction?
Total accident. I was moonlighting at a psychiatric hospital, and I was sort of the new highly skilled internist that could deal with sick people. And guess where all the sick people were? On the drug unit. Mm-hmm. And when I got down there was a guy that had made the detox from drugs a discipline. And mind you, I trained at a county hospital. We were dealing with heroin addicts, alcoholics, and the withdrawal was just haphazard, and no one really knew what they were doing, and they kind of had some things you'd throw at things. This guy had a program, like a systematic way to approach drug withdrawal. And I thought, wow, I've treated thousands of addicts. No one ever told me there's a discipline to this, so I'm going to learn this. So I became really good at detoxing people. Then people all over town were asking me to detox their patients for them. I'm like, no problem. And the whole while, particularly when I was on drug units, I would be like, what's that goofy shit going on in those? Look at that goofy psychological shit, that 12, look at that thing on the wall, the 12-step, kind of the chanting nonsense. I'm a real doctor. We do real medicine. I get people off drugs. I had no idea how to treat drug addiction. And then
you thought it was just a physical thing.
I didn't even give it a second thought. Like, what's this goofy shit out there? It's like, get your shit together and just stop hanging out with those heroin addicts. You'll be fine. Jesus.
Right.
And
get your shit together and walk down the hill. Like
take a long walk, like you told me. And saw a couple of people who people would start asking me to follow them through their course because I didn't understand a lot of the stuff that was going on because they were borderlines and wanted to manipulate me and work me for drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what their motivation was. Like, all right, I'll follow you. Asking me to follow, I'll follow. I saw people go from dying, young people, from dying to amazing, to better than they ever knew they could be. And I was like, wow, what is this? I want to understand what this is. How'd that happen? And what is that? What is this thing? And they would talk about the miracle of the program and stuff. I'm like, I think I need to know this. At about that time, because I was spending a lot of time piecing medically addicts back together, a director of a program, same program, asked me to be the assistant director to kind of cover him when he's gone and stuff. It's like, okay, fast forward 6 months, he quits. Now the assistant director is the director. And now I'm directing a chemical dependency program, so I dig in deep into the training and get the board certifications and all that kind of stuff. And that's how it happened.
And how did you start getting into entertainment?
A long story. I mean, I like performing. I always kind of liked that. I was a singer, opera singer, believe it or not, at one point for like 3 seconds.
When was that?
That was when I was goofing around doing other things.
Okay.
I'd actually, it's funny. I contemplated it seriously for 5 minutes while I was in college. I tried to decide who I am, what I want to do.
Yeah, and because your mom is a performer.
Yeah, it may come in through that. But when I got to medical school, about a year in, I started thinking, I really miss singing. I need to have that in my life to sort of balance what I'm doing. It wasn't like I'm going to be a performer. It's just I kind of want that piece. And I found an amazing teacher and stayed with him most of the way through residency. And really, that was where my singing became good, actually.
Do you still sing?
I'm losing it. I try. My son's a really serious, accomplished musician. And I sat down at the piano the other day just because I've been embarrassed to get near a piano. He's such an accomplished musician. And I thought, yeah, I'm losing this. This is his. This is his now. Right. He can sing and play piano. It's just accomplished. I was never a good musician. Thank God I didn't try to do that. You asked about
how you got into entertainment. So I'm a third-year medical student, or just heading into fourth year. And KROQ, the radio station, is literally I could throw a rock to the radio station. And because we were in the sort of – and by the way, I would just probably 6 months before started listening to the radio station because KROQ became a phenomenon in Los Angeles. I don't know if you remember back then, overnight, pow, 1983, all of a sudden it went from never heard of it to everybody's got to listen to this. And that was the new wave coming in. Right. And so I was listening, and I knew it was there. And people I knew, because we all lived in that sort of neighborhood, were starting to socialize with people over there and kind of knew people, and that was kind of fun. And one day the guy calls me and goes, and he said, I'm over there. And these people – 2 guys have this show in the middle of the night where they went to the program director and realized people obsess about relationships all the time. So how about we turn the phone lines on? And lo and behold, the program director said, great. Well, I've got the FCC's on me. We have to have these 3 hours of community service. So make it a community service show, and I'll give you the time. Sunday night, midnight to 3 a.m. Monday morning. Enjoy that. And they called it Loveline, and I think they did anyway back then. And but they couldn't make it. They didn't know quite what they were doing in terms of community service. And somebody, Pinsky's in medical school. Maybe he can answer questions. And so I came up there and started answering questions. And you knew them just from hanging around? That's how they knew to...
This was a friend of mine that was hanging around with them.
Okay.
And he sort of went, hey, Pinsky's in medical school, and bring him around.
Right. What did you think when you started?
Well, I was freaked out at first, and I brought textbooks up. I brought gynecology and infectious disease textbooks. I'm carting my textbooks up. Yeah, and I had like an epiphany in the room. I'll never forget being in there that night. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. They're coming here in the middle of the night on Sunday with these questions. And oh, by the way, guys, you need to know there's this thing we just finished. We were calling it GRIDS about 3 months ago. Now we're calling it AIDS. You need to know about this thing. I mean, no one was talking about it. There was sort of this weird thing going on where the sexual revolution that people have now kind of forgotten about because it seems so matter of fact that with the world of porn and stuff, young people were not having sex as far as the world was concerned. Right. And you certainly did not talk to them about it. And I was 24. And I just come through adolescence and college. I knew what people were doing, and I could see this AIDS thing coming. I was like, you have to wear a condom, guys. The term safe sex hadn't been coined yet. HIV hadn't been isolated yet. And it was it was my sort of passion to get that out there. And I just said, hey, can I come back? You mind if I come back? And they're like, come back anytime you want. So I'd kind of come back and hang out in the hall and come in and answer questions when they had stuff. And all of a sudden there was a lot of questions directed my way. So I kind of sat down and kind of did it for free for the next 10 years, just doing what I thought was community service once a week. It was fun.
And did you put pressure on yourself to not only be dispensing medical advice, but keep it entertaining?
No,
or
not then.
No.
Not at all. It really wasn't until Adam, to tell you the truth.
You didn't second guess yourself till Adam?
Right. No, I didn't consider the program part of it until Adam was like, hey, here's how we do improv. Not only that, but yes, and come on, I need you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm the doctor. Relax. I'm the doctor part. I just do the doctor thing. No. This don't make these choices and that choices. And I started listening to him, and that's when I started paying attention to things like rhythm and radio and what we were doing. That's 15 years in.
Did you have any resistance at the beginning?
Oh yeah, the very very beginning, or with him?
With him.
Oh yeah, I'm a doctor. Shut up. I'm not the performer here. I'm a physician. He goes, hey, you're on a show, aren't you? I'm on the show with you. Okay, start listening to me. And I mean, I don't remember how I got through all that, but I remember being very offended by it.
Yeah.
Like my prep for the show is practicing medicine because I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of what's going on out there medically, and I'm going to bring that to the show. And I know how to make it digestible for people. You worry about the entertainment. I'm going to worry about getting the information in and out that I think is important.
Mm-hmm. And he would have none of that.
Oh no.
Well, so what broke you?
Adam.
He just kept up with it, and eventually you realized he was right? Okay.
Oh. No, it was how it is with Adam. You're just trying to survive.
Right.
And so if it was a survival
it becomes so unpleasant that you just capitulate.
Yeah, you start capitulating, and then you start going, oh, I think you taught me something here. It's interesting.
Yeah. Oh gosh, completely lost my train of thought. Okay, so who were the hosts before that? It was Poor Man, right?
Poor Man. It was Poor Man and Eagle, and then Poor Man and Scott Mason, and then Poor Man and I think Mason and Lee Albert, the attorney, and then sort of Louis Largent came through there, and then finally, I always was saying, this is a two-man thing. This is a parent-child conflict. This is two guys, and finally became Me and Poor Man, and that's when it really started going. Became Me and Poor Man became more popular all of a sudden.
Right, and then when Adam, you helped bring Adam in though, right?
I did. You want to hear that story?
Yes.
Yes, I do. He will give me zero credit for him being on the radio or anything else.
Right.
I had the sufficient wisdom to see the genius for me to hook my
right place, right time for you.
For me to hook my caboose to his wagon, to his engine. You see, it's all perspective. I was doing it with Ricky Rackman back then, and Ricky couldn't make a deal with the guys, and they were like, this was Stone Stanley. They showed up on to a TV show. I'm like, all right, what's that mean? What's a TV show? How does that? That sounds interesting. I was always just kind of like, I'll explore that. And they had a pilot sort of scheduled, and Ricky couldn't make a deal, and I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna do? And all of a sudden they turned to me and go, well, who do you want to do this? I'm like, I don't know. No one's ever. I don't know. They've always just handed me these guys and told me to deal with them. And I went out running one day, and I remember I can show you the spot where I was running. I was running back to my house, and I was like, God, that guy that does Mr. Burcham, I bet he had the sensibilities for this. I bet he could do it. He'd been on the show once as Mr. Burcham, so I'd met him when he used to have a Saturday or Sunday morning show that I used to time my nursing home round so I could hear his breaks because I thought they were so funny. I thought, I bet this guy could do it. And
what was it about him that made you think he might be good for it?
Couldn't even tell you back then. It was probably sort of it was some sensibility, like speed of processing, or I'm not even sure why. It was something that just caught I just thought there's a fittedness there. And they came, the whole story where they got him. He told me this story?
I think I do know it.
Where he was back. He was doing of all things the MTV Video Music Award coverage for KROQ in New York with Jimmy and Kevin and Bean.
Right.
He was having the time of his life, given a per diem. I mean, he's living on like the high. And they call him and they go, they want to do a film test with you. They got it for a new show. And he's like, oh, no, you're going to make me come back? I don't want to leave this. They're not going to hire me anyway. He goes on and on. What's Mark DiCarlo doing? Can't they hire him?
Right.
And so they bring us, it's like a Wednesday morning or something, Wednesday afternoon. They bring us in a dark soundstage, huge soundstage, and just him and I at a table, And they filmed us and they had fake calls coming in. And it was amazing. And they're like, great, Adam, good job. We'll let you know. We'll call you. Just relax. And Drew, hang on. We got something to talk to you about. Or like as though this was the film test. But of course, I was testing with other people. They didn't want Adam to know that.
Yeah.
So they go, Adam, great. See you later. Bye. And so it's these big sound stages have 2 doors. They have like if you were going into a deep sea tank or something where the water is going to fill one before you go out the next door.
Right.
And he'd walked into one door, he said, and then the other one he kicked open all of a sudden. And you go from these dark rooms to the bright outdoor lights. And he said there was this silhouette standing in the doorway, like sort of with a bright light behind him. Mark DiCarlo coming in for the next screen test. And that obviously didn't work at all. Yeah. And they go to us, it was Wednesday. They go, okay, Saturday we're doing film a pilot. And Saturday morning they bring us in and they sit us it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and they sit us in a booth, a makeup booth, and go, you guys work out your relationship. We'll start filming in 2 hours. And that was it.
Wow.
That was and I'll never forget is at the end of that day, we filmed for like 8 hours that day. It was like 9 o'clock at night. The stage director, who ended up becoming our stage manager for 350 episodes of Loveline on MTV, she came up and she goes, how many years you guys been working together? And we went, it's Saturday morning, like 9 hours ago. And she was like, what? Because like you've been like a team that's been working. Just today.
So I didn't realize that the TV show came before the radio show.
The pilot came before.
Okay.
And as a result of the pilot, they brought Adam in with me and Ricky, and because it was so clearly so well, it worked so well.
Right.
And then they kind of just became me and Adam. And when it became me and Adam, I think the TV show went through a few. I don't know this
iterations.
Whole history. Well, it was originally a show for Fox.
I didn't know that.
And it was distributed by New World Entertainment, Brandon Tartikoff's company. And we cleared all the country, and we were going to be on Fox at 11 o'clock at night. And at the last minute, Fox bought New World and canceled all their programming. So we went from we were already in production, ready to air in 2 weeks, canceled. And this shit happens to me all the time. It's a miracle you ever get anything on television.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? How's that? What kind of business is this? Where they hire you and make you work, and then all of a sudden they just go, sorry, no, don't need you anymore.
Right.
I've had that happen 20 times since. And then all of a sudden MTV picked it up and started airing it. And then we went back into production a few months later.
Have you had moments where you've thought, because you're in two industries, medicine over here and then showbiz, and show business is so insane and capricious and just everything that you just said versus medicine, which I like to think is a little more
least predictable.
Have you ever thought, why the fuck am I in this crazy one?
On the other, no, I would say something different. I would say I was always grateful that I had the grounding and the security and the ability to head over here into medicine, where sane people live,
right?
And just head on over there and stay there. And please leave me alone. I'm practicing medicine. Last fall, when I started doing Life Changers, now I'm doing 5 HLN shows a week, 10 Life Changer half-hour shows a week, and Loveline at night, and Teen Mom, and Celebrity Rehab.
Wow.
That was last year. That was 2011 to 2012. That's when I said, you know what? I'm officially doing television.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It took you that long to realize? Mm-hmm. We could have told you that.
I know. Well, I was even more explicit for me. It was like, I'm on to my second career.
Yeah.
I'm now officially on to my second career. I'm going to shrink medicine to 1 day a week. I'm going to do it because I love it, and I'm committed to my patients, and that's it. I'm officially on my second career. It is television.
Do you get more out of television?
Do I?
Or?
No. I'm just beyond grateful that I've been able to do all the things I have. Now it's just challenging and fun and interesting, and I've had an amazing career. I mean, to be able to practice medicine like a severe workaholic. I had severe workaholism in my early decade of medicine. And then to be able to do all these interesting things alongside of it has been, I'm beyond grateful. Beyond.
I'm just wondering what drives you in TV. I mean, I think there kind of is a thing where if you're good and you can do it, like that can feed on itself of like, oh my God, I have to pursue this because it's like in a weird sense, like
I have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like there's some that started to me in late 90s. I was like, I have these opportunities. I now have these skill sets. Let's kind of see where this goes. And it continues to be gratifying and interesting and fun. I'm still driven by trying to use media to do good. I'm just, that's what I do. If we can't use it to do something good, I ain't interested in doing it. And I'm interested in exploring all kinds of protean manifestations of that, how we can figure this out, because it's a creative endeavor. But it's got to, ultimately, the day is done. You have to be able to say, we did this for a reason.
Now back to the Crazy Adam. At what point, or was there a moment where you're like, oh, wow, this guy who I thought was really funny on Bircham and who tested really well, now I have a tiger by the tail, or he's a monster, or he's in my face, or like, this is not what I bargained for. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just saying you're painting a picture of thinking he's really funny and being a fan of his, and then it worked out really well. So at some point, though, he was telling you what to do.
Meaning the point, the point you're at, so you're saying? The point where you realize the bloom is off the rose, as we say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've known he's that way for a while now.
Yeah.
I'm asking for you the transit. Was there a moment where you're like,
there was not
what?
There was not a moment, no.
Okay.
No. I remember it being more, well, I remember a few memories pop into my mind when you asked that. One was how serious-minded he was about the show part, which I gave that secondary, tertiary thought, and how harsh he was at the producers and the like co-hosts and stuff. And I was like, well, relax, guys, just whatever, no big deal. And he was very, very harsh about that because it was serious to him. I didn't get that. So that sort of was an evolution for me. And then I fell into that same.
Did you have sort of a like, it's entertainment, what's the big deal?
No, I'm like, this is television, dude. What's
yeah.
Sorry. But but I started being the object of some of that scrutiny,
right?
And again, just to keep the peace, started playing along with, but realized he was probably right. And then when he and I were down in, hold on a second, hang on a second, I gotta answer my wife who's texting me.
Oh, no problem.
We will leave at about 6:45.
Where are you guys going?
A premiere.
Oh, that's fancy.
Can I tell you about it?
Yeah.
Jeremy London. Remember Jeremy London?
Yes.
Who I treated in Celebrity Rehab?
I sure
He's
do.
apparently doing very well. He called me the other day. His brother, not doing well. Jason was in
No,
TMZ.
I just saw his photo all over.
Yeah. He produced and wrote a movie, and Eric Roberts is in it.
Oh,
who's
wow.
also apparently doing
Yeah.
well. And he invited me to the premiere. I thought, well, I'd love to support that. So we're going to try to do that tonight. Let me say I'm podcasting for the next hour. Uh-oh. You may have to cut this out. I'm sorry. She's still.
No. This is great.
No, it isn't.
This is great pod.
It is not great pod.
I think it's
bad
wonderful.
pod.
Gary,
can you imagine what Adam would do?
this.
You can imagine what Adam would do if I did
Adam
this.
no, this is good. This is behind the scenes. This is a candid look at Drew texting.
Okay, so let's leave dinner at 5:30. How about that?
I think that sounds great.
Where are we going?
What do you guys think?
Are you buying?
Oh, you come. So there's. Let me get to that memory. Look, I'm on the air now. A memory I have. We went down to Panama City, Florida, to film a couple episodes of the MTV Loveline show. Mm-hmm. So it must have been 97 now, maybe even 98. And I remember. This is just a sidebar about that. One of the guys we were going to interview on the beach in a big stadium that they built for Loveline was Mike Myers, right? Mike.
Yeah. Mike Myers.
And I remember they're going, he's got a new movie. It's kind of a 007 film. It's about a spy that's a groovy throwback to the 60s, and he drives like a Jaguar with a British flag on it. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking? We could not figure out what they were describing to us. We never got it. We could not figure out what the hell they're talking about. And anyway, Mike Myers was there. He was on Loveline, and we were down there in a bathroom urinating next to one another. Mm-hmm. Of course,
that's what you guys do.
Well,
he and I do that all the time too.
Yeah.
We don't, but he does not let the fact that I'm in the hallway stop him from peeing with the door wide open. Every now, like I haven't seen anything yet, and I don't want to. But every now and then, I'm like, hello.
He has a whole thing about shutting the bathroom doors. I've seen the video. You haven't seen the
right.
video?
Oh, no, I have.
Pay attention.
Yeah, but that's leave the bathroom door open when you're done, not when you're in there.
Well, he generalizes.
Yeah, you're right.
Just saving a couple steps.
So, right.
He's very efficient. Very efficient. So anyway, we were talking about he is interested in psychology, and he talks about that. He's standing there. He'd had a couple drinks, and he stands there and goes, "I don't really have feelings." and I go, no, of course you do. I know you do. He goes, no, I'm a robot. I don't care about anything. I don't care about anybody. I am just a robot, and you better know that about me. And I thought,
wow,
I sure as fuck hope you're distorting this.
Were you like, this is a sociopath?
Well, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I thought, what is this?
Right.
And I don't know still to this day. I've been giving him shit about it over the years. I don't know quite what he really meant, because he is not. Those are the robots in there. He's turned those people into robots.
Right.
But in certain moments, he can be like that, where he almost is without emotion. He's cold-blooded in his thinking. So I think that's what he was talking about. So, and strangely enough, he's for years would yell at me about I'm a narcissist. I'm a narcissist. That's what I'm a narcissist.
Oh, he thought he was.
Yes, and then he talked about being in a group therapy for a while. He had lots of therapy, right? And he did a group therapy where he was really making progress. And one day, after I think a couple of years with this one group, he just left it, decided to leave, and it freaked out the leader and it freaked out the group, and they needed him back, and they were trying to convince him he had some unfinished business to do. Well, he wouldn't hear any of his gone. So clearly, he was getting into some real territory.
Right.
We're finally going to make some change. And he and I had discussed over the years that maybe there was sort of a partial treatment of his narcissism. Then I did an LA Times Magazine interview about him when he was on morning radio, and I started with, he's a partially treated narcissist, and they opened the article with that. He was offended and furious.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, I never said I was a narcissist. I go, yeah, for years you used to
Yeah.
yell. I wouldn't say that. Anyway. The thing I've said is about the Asperger's. I said that. He didn't say that.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting that he was so offended by that.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, because I thought that he kind of
He
acknowledges
declares that.
that.
Declares that.
Right. Well,
I'm
here's
not sure
the thing,
that's that
though.
true. I mean, he has narcissistic tendencies in certain circumstances, but actually a lot of time he's not.
He uses narcissist pretty loosely. Like everyone is a, quote, wild, crazed narcissist, entitled, et cetera.
Maybe that's it.
I actually wanted to ask you, what is the definition of narcissism, and what is behind your interest in narcissism? I'm thinking about your book.
What's my interest in it?
Yeah,
well, my
what
interest
drives
in
your
it
interest?
is multifold. One is it's the growing trend of the sort of general category that people's character structures and pathologies fall into. All these traumas and things we talk about that are so common in the world now are narcissistic injuries that result in narcissistic pathologies. My therapist had a real interest in narcissism. She told me once, she goes, all I'd see now, she told me this, she goes, all I see now is people with narcissism, or people more than with people struggling to deal with people with narcissism. That's all she's dealing with all the time. And so it's sort of the problem. I get interested in the problems of our time.
Right.
Addiction is a problem of our time. HIV, problem of our time. Narcissistic injury, problem of our time.
And so what really is the definition of it?
Oh, we should pull it out. We should get the DSM-5. Yeah, we should pull it out, because it's a set of criteria. I mean, really, it's fundamentally a deep emptiness and longing with a strategy to avoid that and avoid feelings, and use the world and other people to keep ourselves pumped up and away from our feelings and feeling good about ourselves. Basically, it's a way of describing it. So people narcissists fundamentally have a deep emptiness and lack of worth that's sort of compensated for by potentially an inflated worth that's acquired through what they get from the world.
Right. And were there narcissists close to you?
Yeah, I went down with narcissistic stuff. I think he was all those injuries he had from child. He was a nice guy, great guy, excellent doctor, but I think he had narcissistic liabilities for sure.
Gary?
As indicated by 5 or more of the following.
Yeah, what are the 5?
Has a grandiose. Well, there's 9, so it's
This
5.
is, now, mind you, this is narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
And so you can extrapolate, narcissism otherwise is related to this. So go ahead.
All right, so you have to qualify for 5 of the 9.
Yeah.
It has a grandiose sense of self-importance, is preoccupied with fantasies of limited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood or should associate with other special or high-status people or institutions, requires excessive admiration, has a sense of entitlement, is interpersonally exploitative, lacks empathy, is often envious of others or believes others are envious of him or her, or shows arrogant, haughty behavior or attitudes.
That's everyone I know.
I know. And the biggest liability is the empathic failure. That's where it becomes kind of dangerous and problematic.
Right.
They feelings. I always think of narcissists as feelings don't matter. Whenever somebody says, like Dr. Phil, like, why don't you just get your shit together? Just
Just get real.
Yeah, feelings don't matter. And you and I have talked about how we operate in a messy world of feelings, and that all changes how you operate.
See, because there are people that you can pinpoint to and say, like, oh, that person is so self-absorbed, they only care about themselves.
But that's different than narcissism, because people that are in pain are self-absorbed. I mean, think about it. If you have an injury, sometime you're in pain, you're thinking about yourself. And when the pain seems big, you kind of like project it out.
Yeah.
And so when people are in pain, injured, whatever reason, depression, whatever,
Right.
it makes you self-absorbed. So I separate that from narcissism.
Why do you think narcissism is on the rise?
The shitty families and the shitty injuries and, you know, lack of empathy, if you don't, and lack of attunement and time with children and things. We have to literally grow the brain connections between our consciousness and our feeling states. That's a wiring issue, and that was a wiring phenomenon. I'm writing a book about this that occurs in a co-created experience with other people, mom and dad.
I remember when I had heard that you said that Adam was partially treated. Is that how you put it?
Yeah.
Narcissist. I was surprised because I didn't know that narcissism can be treated.
Oh, I didn't say he had a narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
Because theoretically, personality disorders can't be treated.
But you say theoretically.
Narcissism traits can be treated, I think.
Now, you say theoretically. Do you not agree with that? Or
I have hope for almost everybody. But theoretically, if it's a fixed personality, because what's fixed in the real personality disorder is I don't have a problem. The world has the problem, and I refuse to look at it any other way. So you can't treat that.
Right.
Now, what gets through that, and the reason I have hope is I see it all the time in drug addiction, when people maintain that attitude until they nearly die, then they magically become willing to change. So I see it change in addiction all the time.
And were there
were
there addicts in your life?
No. It's just that story I told you. It's just an accident. But I'm overly interested in people, like not healthily, like the human experience and people. It's just I'm put all that ahead of everything before I experience myself. So I'm deeply focused out in the human world. And so naturally enough, this addiction thing is fascinating. How, fundamentally, it's a broken motivation system. Typically, humans, their motivation system is their survival drive. That's the basic of motivation. And then all this other stuff, the emotions, the body, the thinking, the reasoning, all that stuff is to serve the motivation of survival. Well, imagine that basic motivation becomes skewed, so all this other wonderful stuff we've got in our higher centers starts serving the broken motivation. Thoughts, feeling, logic, relationships all serve a broken master. And it's fascinating when that happens.
Do you think you have to be broken to become an addict?
No, you just have the gene. Just need the gene.
So you think it's an...
I don't think it is. It's just the fact.
That it is biological.
I've treated 10,000 drug addicts, and I have 5 where I couldn't see a specific genetic link.
Wow. So given that...
And by the way, we even know what the genes are. There's a single amino acid substitution, the GABA A receptor, confers about a 60% liability. The L allele, the serotonin transporter, 60-ish% liability. Both those genes, 100%, no matter what environment you're raised in.
And that, wow, I did not...
And we have other
I'm not up on the medical
and
journals.
we have many other other gene candidates too.
Wow.
It's probably going to be 20 or so genes that really accumulate.
And that makes you have an addictive personality,
no,
or what is it?
The genetic liability for addiction. Many different personalities, right? Get addiction.
Right.
There's no such thing as addictive personality. There's
Right.
addictive biological tendency, the reward system disorder.
Yeah. I guess what I'm asking is that doesn't... Knowing this stuff doesn't give any indication of what kind of addiction, right? It just means that you are more susceptible to forming one.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any of that in you?
Nope. I don't think so. Doesn't seem like it. I'm almost jealous of my patients because I get like dysphoric experiences from things. Can't drink very much. I throw up. Whenever I've taken opiates in the past, I hate how I feel. If I ever need them, that scares me.
Yeah.
So.
Being so
Anxiety medicine I like a little bit. I feel like
what, Xanax?
Yeah, you like that too?
You know what? Everyone in my family was taking Xanax, and I forget why. I think it was, I had surgery a little over a year ago, and I was having trouble sleeping after it. So I started taking a little bit of Xanax, and at the beginning I really liked it. I was like, oh wow, this is pretty incredible, and it helps me go to sleep. And then instead of taking a whole pill, I was just taking a half, and there was one night where I was just like so itchy. And
you're coming off it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like my legs, I couldn't stop. I kept wanting to move
restless
them.
leg.
Yeah, and
you had it from the drug or coming off the drug? You had it from both.
I thought it was from the
It could be
drug,
from the
so
drug.
I stopped.
Yeah, it's called
because
restless
it was
leg
so
syndrome.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. So you got to know
Yeah.
you have that. I have side effects from everything
Yeah.
myself. And the only reason I'm kidding about the benzodiazepines is I had one really vivid experience. I had a hernia operation. As I was being carted off, they gave me a bunch of Versed.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was being carted off, I'm going in the hall thinking, oh my God, this must be what a normal person feels like. This is what it's like to be awake and not have anxiety. I've never experienced this before.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Wow. So being wait, do you consider yourself codependent?
Oh, severe. You kidding? That's that whole external focus on
Yeah.
something.
Where does
severe.
and where does that come from?
Oh, my parents. Yeah. It may be from that injury, that whole ambulance story I told you. Maybe that made me focus on them to try to take care of them so that doesn't happen again. Whatever. I was always – and it probably gratified their narcissistic stuff, so they fed into it.
Right. Okay. This is a unhealthy question that I'm going to ask anyway. So I've been reading this book. It's called The Language of Letting Go, and it is by the woman who wrote Codependent No More. And it's like, do you know it?
Beatty.
Yeah. Do you know the book Language of Letting Go, though? It's like these little codependent meditations.
I didn't know, but okay. I get it.
Yeah. So I've been trying to read it in the morning, So I was reading it, and there's this thing about people pleasers. And it was saying that, like, have you ever been around a people pleaser? That's how I imagine that, it would be spoken. Being around people pleasers can be exhausting, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. However, sitting here, because I consider myself pretty codependent as well, I imagine that it's probably pretty delightful to be around you and me as opposed to exhausting, because we just want to make other people happy and we'll do what they want and we're really flexible.
But imagine you and I being married. We would drive each other crazy.
Oh,
See?
well, a little bit that's what my
See?
relationship is. Because we both,
See,
neither one of us will be like, this is how it has to be.
Yeah, that gets a little bit. I could see how it would be exhausting a little bit.
And there's a lot of like
Because here's the real deal. I used to be a severe people pleaser. I'm not so much that anymore, because that's a narcissistic thing. Because really, you're pleasing other people.
I worry about that.
For me. Ultimately, it's really still about the person. And underneath all that is, and this is what I had to work on deeply, is there's I'm trying to think of the language for this, a lack of clarity, or maybe even a confusion on almost a visceral level on my feelings, if I'm using myself as the patient, and yours.
Yeah.
That if I see you in pain, it mobilizes mine, although I experience it as yours. I have to make it stop in you because it becomes intolerable in me.
It's so threatening.
But it's my pain.
Yeah, you're right. This is bad.
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
It's not good for you. And
Right.
it's a very subtle, very deep thing to try to get your head around.
I know. That's really been a goal for me, is to be like, I am in a room. There's someone who's in a bad mood in this room, because it's like
Radar.
Yeah. I can't not, like, I feel it. And it's
Which is a great strength, right? You can be a radar, and you can antenna and pick people up.
It frustrates me that other people don't. Like, how can you be so blind to this?
I know.
It's a temperature.
But here's where the empathy comes in, and not just the codependency, is now you put a boundary down and go, oh, I can appreciate that other people's having an intense feeling. I can even touch it and feel it, but it's theirs. And I can reflect back to them. I use your face to reflect back. It helps set a boundary. Like, put an expression that reflects understanding of their feeling state.
Ooh, this is the Dr. Drew compassionate face, huh?
Yeah, it's the sad face. Yeah, it's the sad face.
I'm doing it.
And it sets a boundary, and it signals to their right brain, their non-logic, non-language brain, understanding and connection.
Right.
And it's deeply effective. It's profoundly effective. You're good at
I'm
it.
going to do that. But thank you.
But make sure it's a spontaneous reflection, not a self-conscious, thought-out, what would this feeling look like?
Oh, God.
Try to just
right.
reflect
So don't do
it
the
back.
face in air quotes.
Yeah.
But, yes. But But I have the thing where, like, I'm in a room, someone's in a bad mood in this room or work environment, and I'm not even talking to them, and I am in.
I wonder if we're going to drive people crazy with this podcast, our podcast together. If we'll be irritating or well received.
Hey, you guys, it's me again, Allison. Don't forget to download part 2 of my interview with Dr. Drew on Thursday. I love you.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Thank you for choosing the Alison Rosen show. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. That's right, that's right. Those good times don't seem to end. That's right, that's right. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now it's time to go. Hope to see you next time for the Alison Rosen show. Yeah! Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
This is Corolla Digital.